I'd like to call to order the Danville Board of Education regular meeting for June 11th, 2018. Welcome, everyone. Sorry, I'm trying to move this mic. I'm not sure how well I can get. Totally improvising tonight, so I apologize. The first thing on the agenda, I know we need to make an amendment to the agenda.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we amend the agenda to add the asbestos abatement bid as listed in 8E.
Second. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that passes. Before we get started, I would just like to say that Lori sends her apologies. She is traveling and out of town on work, and just received a text from Troy a little earlier this afternoon that he is under the weather. So we just wanted to let you know why they are not here this evening. Okay, now we can go on to approve the amended agenda.
I make a motion to approve of the amended agenda.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Next item on the agenda is board member comments.
Okay, I'm going to make one. I had a very enjoyable Saturday with the local Kiwanis. We did an event called Fishing with the Kiwanis. And we were lucky enough to have many children there that wanted to learn how to fish along with our fishing team. So they brought a boat out and we discussed boat safety. They taught the kids how to properly knot their line for a hook and how to put on bait and all these great things. It was really it was a wonderful afternoon. Boyle County's fishing team was also there and represented. But it was a really good day and good representation for the Danville fishing team. So kudos to them.
All right, we'll move on to superintendent comments.
Since we were together last, 123 Danville High School seniors walked across the stage. That is a 13-year endeavor, so always neat to see that project come to fruition. That was a beautiful ceremony, some great speeches by our kids, and of course, exciting to hear all the things that they are heading off to do. With that as well, in the week prior, we had our gateways in our 5th and 8th and 12th grade. This is our revamped system as we use version 2.0. If you had the chance to join us as a judge, I think that from what I hear, like myself, we were all very impressed. With the poise and presentations, our students demonstrate a whole host of skills that often extend far beyond the core content materials, and always neat to see how much time our teachers have put in to develop that process and continue to have it to grow. And then this week we opened STEAM Academy. Over 200 students are now with us at Bate Middle School, experiencing all sorts of cool new ways of doing things. If you saw the pictures on Facebook, I feel bad for the custodians because this is the time that I think the kids are the most messy as they get to get their hands into stuff literally. So it's been a great finish to the year and already a great start to the next as our summer kicks off strong with our kids.
Great. All right, thank you, Dr. Look. Next item on the agenda is the personnel notifications. Just there for information, if you have any questions, you can certainly let Dr. Look know. Moving on to the minutes of the previous meeting.
I could do it.
No, I make a motion to approve of the May 8th, 2018, May 14th, 2018, May 21st, 2018, May 24th, 2018, May 30th, 2018, and the May 31st, 2018 meeting minutes as submitted.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Up next is our report section. First being the finance report, the financial statement. Mr. Dean.
Since we were not able to look at the treasurer's report at the working session, we'll start with that. Should have a copy of the treasurer's report for May of 2018. Page 1 consists of the reconciliations. You can see in the first part we started the month with $8,269,825. Took in total receipts for the month of $1.9 million. Total disbursements for May, $2.266 million, leaving us with a balance at the end of May of $7,976,394. In the middle section, you'll see how that's broken down by the various funds that we maintain, starting with general fund at 6.3 million, and on down the line you can see how those are maintained in the various funds. And then finally at the bottom is a reconciliation with the bank, including the outstanding checks and deposits for the end of the month. You can see that they all reconcile to the same amount. Page 2, the treasurer's report lists the receipts, a summary of the receipts for the month. You can see the various amounts that we took in from our gross utility taxes, preschool and safe schools and ESS allocations, our SEEK, capital outlay distribution in the month, and on down the list. Tried to break those out so that you can see what went into the various deposits, totaling $1,972,958.95. Page 3 consists of the summary of the expenditures. You can see the various claims and the payrolls for the month. One thing that I'll show you, the May claims were $976,810.90, while the payroll for May was $1,289,578.12. One thing I've added, told you I would try to do from now on, is a summary at the bottom which breaks down the claims and the payroll by fund, so you can see how those are paid out during the month. General fund claims, we paid out $152,000. You can see down the list. Then that's the treasurer's report. Any questions? Okay, I'll move on to the financial report that we do at each board meeting. On page 1, you can see the reconciliations we just talked about previously and how they were broken down by the funds. On the left-hand side, that column is for May of 2018, and then you can see a comparison on the right-hand side from how we were a year ago today for May 2017. See the balances and how they stack up. Down at the bottom, you can see how they're broken down by fund and what the balances were. You can see the general fund is very similar. Some of the other funds are up or down. Construction fund obviously is down since we've spent a large portion of that at the Tolliver project. Good side, our food service fund, look at it, it's gone from 52,000, just under 53,000 last year to right now they're at 206,000. So we're doing really well on the food service side.
What would you attribute that to? Just more?
The reimbursements being more this year under the CEP. Just, I know that Patty has made a real concerted effort to get more kids to eat, and when that happens, the reimbursement goes up, and so she's done a really good job of that this year. The second page is a summary of the certificate of deposit that we maintain for the Tolliver renovation project. You can look and see the various draws since the beginning of the certificate. For May, we had $420,906, and then we've already paid out June of $95,762. So right now, our current CD balance is $484,860. Then on the right-hand side is the interest amounts that we've earned. In the month of May, we earned $519.22, which brings us to a total for the life of the certificate of $113,485. Then the final 2 pages, the first one is a Fund 1 or General Fund summary of the receipts. You can see what we've received for the month of May, and then look at what we've got for year to date and it's got a comparison with the budget. And then also in the next to last column is the last year to date, so we can kind of do a comparison and see where we are this year as compared to last year. On the next page is the same thing for our expenditures. They're broken down there by function for month to date, year to date. in our budget and in last year to date. Then you can see down at the bottom, right now our general fund cash balance, as we said earlier, is $6,309,000. Of that, we've got the $200,000 set aside for sick leave escrow, and we're still maintaining $399,374 for assigned maintenance, leaving us with a general fund cash balance available of $5,709,690.
That's good.
Hey, Paul, I noticed on here we're still doing some tax collections. Where are we with that? 'Cause didn't we?
Right, and I was going to run a report and bring it, but I forgot about it. But right now, with the, I didn't mention it last time, but we've had our tax sale,
Okay.
and we had a vendor come in and purchase about $27,000.
Okay.
That included mostly 2017, but they also purchased in 2016 and 2015.
Oh, okay.
So right now, we originally billed property taxes of approximately $7.5 million, and right now our balance is just under $13,000.
Wow, that's fantastic. Okay.
Really, really good year.
Yeah, it is. Thank you.
I make a motion to approve of the financial report as submitted.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, moving along to the vendor summary. You should have a copy of the claims invoices paid for the month of May totaling $976,810.90, as we stated earlier. A large portion of it, if you look at the breakdown on the previous pages by fund, you'll notice that a large portion of that was construction fund. We paid out almost $421,000 for the Tolliver construction and renovation project. We also paid $3,750 for a Tolliver HVAC observation test. And then we had some costs associated with the Hogsett renovation project and the Bait HVAC project, architect fees, a topographic survey, asbestos survey, and then for the middle school project, architect fee and engineering consultant fee. And then we also had a $5,572 architect fee for the high school roofing project the phase 2 project that we've got going now. So about $524,000 of that was construction related items. We also paid $150,929 to U.S. Bank for bond principal and interest payment. That is our last payment for the fiscal year. We won't have any until I think next August coming up, so that was the last payment there. So that leaves, after you back those out, about $252,000 for routine monthly expenditures, instructional supplies, repairs and maintenance, diesel fuel, food service, all those types of items. And then a couple of things that I wanted to break out separately so you'll notice is that this past month we also paid for a maintenance truck that we purchased, totaling $24,917, and then we also bought some charging carts for Tolliver at about $3,681.
So when do we actually write the check for the bus?
Probably we will be this month,
Okay. So that's about what, 150 or?
about 135, I think. Any questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, I make a motion to approve of the payment of invoices totaling $976,810.90 as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, we're moving on to the bank depository.
At the working session, I provided you with information regarding the 3 bids for depository services that we had received. So I guess we just need to make a decision on which institution that we want to utilize going forward starting July 1.
Farmers is one that we've used.
Do you want to go over these, since
Do you
there's
have
folks
them
here
again?
that haven't
Sure.
heard this?
Yeah.
We received bids from Farmers National Bank, which is our current financial institution, also from Community Trust Bank, and then also from Bluegrass Community Bank, which their bid was submitted by Monticello Banking Company, who is, I don't know if they already have or in the process of acquiring Bluegrass Community Bank.
Yeah, I think they've already acquired them.
So they submitted a bid for them.
They are. That's expensive.
And positive and a negative. Positive, their interest rate that they offered was more than the other two institutions, but they're limited to only one location in Danville. I think they do have a branch in Perryville, but other than that, I'm not sure that they have anything else around here that makes it convenient for our employees. The Community Trust Bank offered up to 0.75%, but also gave a lowest rate possible of 0.1%. So it could fluctuate depending on, I guess, how the market is. And then Farmers Bank gave us a fixed rate, which is the same rate as we have right now, 0.5%. I don't know if you want a recommendation or not, and just to be honest with you, I know that some of the others gave a little better interest rate than Farmers, but Farmers has really been over backwards as far as customer service to take care of our needs. If we do happen to switch, that's just another transition on top of others that we're facing right now with the elementaries that we'll have to adjust and go with.
I mean, I'm inclined to stay with Farmers. I don't know if you all have a different thought.
I think based on the information tonight and what he gave us last week, so I'll make a motion to approve of the bid from Farmers National Bank for bank depository services.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, moving on to staffing related matters, our staffing report.
I talked to you all last week about the occupational therapist and the 2 instructional assistants. We also want to ask for a .2 art teacher at Sunrise, and it's going to be paid out of Project 103X, and then a .5 maintenance worker, which will come out of general fund.
Christy, I know when you sent that email, you gave us some information on that maintenance. Can you just, again, because we hadn't talked too much about it, so
Right.
if you've got a little more information to give us, that'd be great.
2016, we had 5 maintenance workers, and we reduced that to 3. The 3 that I have are skilled in HVAC, an HVAC technician, they're skilled in plumbing, some minor electrical work, of course, general labor, grounds maintenance, pesticide application, and door hardware. But we're lacking in construction skills. And I find that, I have to contract out to try to build a wall.
Find somebody to do
So
that.
we have the need for construction skills that certifications
Sure.
to make things OSHA compliant. And it's a real need.
Okay.
And it's not a huge cost to us.
Right.
It's still a lot less than we paid 2 years ago for our
Right.
maintenance staff.
Sure. Okay.
So and you said that's an additional .5 and it would be added on to a bus driver to make it a full-time position? So we aren't taking away .5 bus driver, it's
No.
just we're adding
No.
an additional.
Right. Really good incentive too to retain the bus drivers.
Yeah. Steve, any thoughts or
No, I think
comments?
it's
You okay?
an ideal situation, so I think that'll be good. So do we need to make a
I was
motion?
gonna
on
say,
it?
there's,
Okay.
is there a motion listed on here? Yeah, just to approve.
Yeah,
accept the staffing report as submitted.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I
Okay.
move we accept the staffing report as submitted.
Second. All right, all those in favor?
Aye. Okay, and then we'll move on to a revised job description.
All that is, when we had the one classified position in central office that we divvied out the duties, I caught that the job description we were using wasn't working, so it's kind of a cleanup. It's just to get that back in line with what that person's doing.
Is the difference in pay?
Difference in title.
It's more work and less pay.
Make a motion to approve, to change the accounting, approval of the revised job description, to change it from accounting specialist 7162 to payroll specialist 7191.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, and then moving on to the 2018-19 salary schedule.
Okay, we're here to present the 18-19 salary schedule to you. I wanted to go through and address some of the changes that we made, which were very few. Everything remains the same on the schedule right now for the salaries of classified and certified individuals. The changes that were made is, one is the addition of the terminology for National Board Certification and dual credit staff support policy so that people can see that, and it kind of explains it to them so they'll know what's going on there. That's been placed into the schedule. And then the next thing, we tweaked, met with Lisa Fisher, and we tweaked the middle school athletic extra duty pay a little bit. You'll look on there and see some of them, like most of the head coaching positions were listed at $1,900. We bumped it to $2,000. And so, and then the assistants, the same thing, and they may have been $1,100 and now they're $1,250. So we just went through and adjusted just the middle school. We haven't done anything to the high schools for this year. We're going to address that next year. But went through and put a little bit extra on those middle school stipends.
Now, it looks like the head basketball for boys and girls in football are at $2,500.
Yes, we did adjust those a little bit more. I'm trying to think of what they were previously. May have been $2,000 and they went to $2,500 just because of the time involved on those sports. And then one thing that we've had some issues the last couple of years trying to make the stipends fit how the coaches need to use them. We do have one statement in the schedule where each sport could split a position at a 50% increment. Talking to some of the coaches and stuff, it really wasn't fitting. So one thing we've come up with I wanted to present is that we've, and like I said, did this in conjunction with Lisa, is one position may be split at the coach's discretion with the approval of the athletic director. And what that would allow him to do is, if he's got a couple of coaches, he's got one stipend that he could split it a little bit and maybe address a need that he's got on the coaching staff. And what I told Lisa that we would have to do if we were to do this is make sure we get it in writing from each of the coaches beforehand so that they know what to expect as far as the stipend is concerned. So there's no questions after the season starts or at the end of the year.
And that expectation would be year to year. So it doesn't mean it could happen, you know, again. I mean, if the coach decided
We would start from scratch the next year.
We can't do that next year. I mean, they would realize that. I mean, I just want to make sure. Years back, we went through a problem with salaries being split with coaches, and it was not pleasant. In fact, we lost a coach over it. So I just want to make sure everybody's got that comfort level there.
Yeah, we're just trying to give them a little bit of leeway on that, and like I said, we'll make it known up front that the coach knows what his salary is gonna be, so it doesn't change, or he comes in expecting something and then end of the year he gets paid something else. So we wanna make sure we remedy that up front. And it will be, I mean, it'll start over the next year, they'll have to reallocate and do whatever they need to do.
And then
It's not something
those
to carry
decisions will be determined before the season starts.
Yes.
So
The
that-
athletic director is gonna be involved with the coaches to make sure that happens. I think that's the only other thing that we have changed on this so far. And that does not, that one position does not apply to the head coach or the lead assistant. So it'll be the lower tier assistant coaches, one position that they can do that to. Teresa, you listening? So I know there are probably going to be some discussions about a raise at some point, so I just wanted to present this is where we are right now.
Well, I move we accept the salary schedule for 2018, 2019 as submitted.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Oh, gosh. Need to boot on the other foot. Okay, this moves us on to facilities. First item is the revised BG1 roofing at the high school and Bay Middle School.
Okay, all this is a BG1 revising the funding for the project. Project's done, but before we close it out, originally on the BG1 that we had approved, we had part of the money, about $141,000 coming from the general fund, whereas the rest of it's coming from the building fund and capital outlay. We had to do it because at the time, we didn't have the extra money in our restricted funds to do that. So what I'm going to want to do now is amend it to where it doesn't come out of the general fund. Now we've got the funds in building fund and capital outlay, and I want to redo that so it comes out of those and doesn't come out of the general fund. And what that does is, at this point, with the money that we're putting into the Phase 2 project from the restricted funds, that's $435,200. And by changing this, we don't have to come up with anything out of the general fund, and that leaves us probably with a carryover balance of just a little over $5,000 in our capital outlay fund that will go to next year. Questions?
No, I think that's good. So I move that we accept the revised BG1 roofing at the Danville High School and the John W. Bate Middle School as submitted.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, next item is the sod at Tolliver.
Actually, we basically just received this, and so I'd like to ask that maybe this be tabled until next month, just because we're in the process of looking through the estimate that we got, and I think there are some things in there that we can pull out that our maintenance staff can do to help reduce the cost on that. So we'd like to investigate that a little bit further before we.
There's too many questions right now that we don't have answers to, so we're just not ready.
No, that's okay, I'm not sure that we were either, so that works
Okay.
very well, so. Thank you.
So I move that we table the sod at Tolliver discussion until either the end of this month or July.
Second. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Okay, then moving on to the Swaingen roof.
Okay, I've got, provided you guys with an estimate to replace the roof at Swain Gym. And, it's, bonded company, $18,500, something like that. Once the roof is complete, there will be some added ventilation with, thermostat controlled fans that will work wonders in the actual locker room itself. There is no air circulation in there right now. And this is much needed. We have part of a ceiling that is struggling to stay intact. So, and our kids use this building. So this is really a high priority. And once we have the roof vents set in, the new roof, and the windows, the new windows we've put in, and then those windows will be tinted, our energy efficiency in that building will be much higher. It will be more comfortable for the kids too.
What other work would we need to do on that building once we get the roof and the windows? I mean, is there a lot more extensive work to be done? Or?
Not necessarily extensive, and it's just run down inside.
Plus some cosmetic changes that can be made to
Cosmetic,
the
that's a good
interior.
way to put it.
Not necessarily construction type work,
No.
just.
No, we've got to do some cleanup, we need to take up some carpet, either put, some carpet down. We need some repair work on plaster work on the ceiling where it has leaked through.
No significant construction.
No significant construction. A little bit of concrete on the floor is needed.
So after the roof work is done, then vents are gonna be put in?
Well,
And
it's gonna
that's
have to be-
obviously gonna be a separate cost.
Yes, and that's around, I'm trying to come up with that number. It is a separate cost, it's kind of two companies working, they'll be working together to do that. And I may have that with me.
So is that something we need to be looking at now before we approve this roof project?
4,500.
How much?
4,500.
Now, those expenses will just come out of our general fund
Yeah.
maintenance.
All right, that's what I said.
So we're good on that.
Well, I move that we accept the roof bid for the swing gym roof as submitted.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, we'll move on to the softball field.
I provided you with updated estimates from John Farman. We pulled some things out of the original tentative BG1 that John had prepared. Things that our maintenance guys can take care of, or we think that we'll be able to purchase at a cheaper price by pulling it out of the project. Those include the goalpost, the scoreboard, bleachers. Goalpost. We just went to the football field, didn't we? The foul poles, yes. What else was there? You've got it out right there.
Seating,
Yes.
scoreboard, PA system, foul poles and bases, and then also the bleachers.
It's around 70,000 that we're able to pull out of the project.
And that's, those are items that we, at some point, will still have to
Right.
purchase, but like I said, we think we can do better on the pricing
We don't feel
than
like it
what he's
needs
got
to.
in the bid submitted. So what that does basically is take us from the preliminary cost projection of $547,000. Now, a reminder that this still does not include restrooms. It's something that we're looking at additionally, which, to be honest, we could probably, to get the softball field done, we could postpone the restrooms if we have to use porta potties for a year until we can come back around and see if we can install those. But it takes us from a cost of $547,000 down to just under $494,000. With the acknowledgement that, we still have to do bleachers and the scoreboard and the seating. Seating we think we can do with our maintenance staff, so it'll save us a ton of money on that. But some of the other items I think we can purchase just at a better price than what he's giving us.
And his estimates are not conservative. He's estimating what he feels like it will cost, but I think he's not wanting us to be shocked, so.
And well, there are potential cost savings built into that as well. A lot of it's going to depend on how much rock is located in the area that they have to excavate. So if we find that there's not a lot of rock, that probably will reduce the amount that he's got assigned for that. So like I said, there are potential for savings, but right now we just have to go based on what he's giving us.
The first step would be boring test to see if there's rock there.
So where it's on a slope there, so they would dig out that whole area in order to make it completely flat, or we can leave a little bit of the slope, or is that where we're running into rock
Well, we
possibly?
actually went to the site with John Carmen last week and had a discussion. Danny Gabriel was with us and about the location of it and actually turned it to where the backstop, I think, is by the tennis courts, right? As opposed to being in the baseball center field. So there's a little bit of a turn to it, a little bit better lay of the land maybe.
To be honest with you, I don't know how much they'll have to dig out.
Right.
As of right now, I don't know that he is,
But you're not gonna
got
have
the
a field on a
final
hill.
lay.
There's not gonna be a field on a hill. The ball's gonna roll to the left every
It's,
time.
you know, you asked about the design
Right, but sometimes
contingency.
there is a slope in out.
You asked about the design contingency, and that's where that comes from. The school hasn't been designed yet, so
Right.
that's where he won't put that in there.
I was just thinking that I guess the preliminary picture we had was where that backstop, like you said, is towards center field.
Yeah, I think we've kind of eliminated that. We'll try to turn it some just because of the potential of baseball and softball playing together and home run balls coming over the fence into the field of play. So trying to turn it where it lessens that threat.
Well, I guess what I've got to ask is, can we really afford this right now? And I mean, I just need to make sure there's a comfort level here, you know. I mean, eventually, we're still going to have to add basically about $179,000 to the project for restrooms, and if we do all the rest of the other work ourselves, correct?
Some of it we can do ourselves, some of it we'll end up purchasing at a better price than what he's got on here. You know, $10,000 for a scoreboard, I think that's way too high. We can find something.
100,000 is a high estimate on the restroom also.
I think last week we talked about 80.
Yeah, he mentioned that he's doing a project now where he's got a prefabricated type building that they're in a park that they're using for restrooms, which might be something that we consider, or, you know, if we can find somebody that's willing to donate the time and build a block building, you know, that's something that we can look at too.
What do you think, Keith? I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, and it's a big decision. I know we're missing a couple board members. I'd like to at least maybe buy a little more time till we can, whether we have another meeting here at the end of the month or something, just so we can all have a good discussion on it, because, I mean, it's a big expense.
There's gotta be some real planning. I think that probably begs some larger questions. Because obviously the first $350,000 of this was taken out of what was originally thought for football. So if that's been here now, and then if you're adding to that, then whatever needs a football stadium has gets pushed down a little longer. Now, the board can take that money and make up for it too. So it might be worth the board considering, we always fluctuate contingency every year. And we haven't really had a conversation about hard numbers. So if you look back to Paul's original report, our expenses in May are $2.3 million. It's 1.3 for salaries, another $1 million in debt service and other matters. If catastrophe would strike, that's where contingency is for. So the question becomes, how long do you wish to survive if catastrophe strikes? If it's 1 month, then you need to have $2.3 million in contingency every year. If it's 2 months, then it's obviously 4.6. So if you look at that number versus what your revenue is, you have a better way of gauging what money you have on hand to either put into general fund, recurring costs, or into reserve funds for specific projects. So that might be a way to then strategically look at not only how you afford softball, but also what your other needs are, and be able to do it based upon what you know your recurring financial strategy is, and that needs to start with the contingency conversation.
And, you know, right now, I'm projecting, looks like we're gonna have about a $2.9 to $3 million carry forward for next year to start out the year with, so anything we do would be dipping into that.
Well, I think you all know where I stand on it, that I'm all for it and really, I would like to see this happen, because I think it's something that our district has needed for several years. But I do understand 2 board members not being here. It is a big decision, and if we want to wait till the end of the month, or
I'd like to at least give them an opportunity to be involved in the discussion. And, you know, I think we can still do that at the end of the month or
So
you know,
we'll
early
address it
July.
at the next special call meeting.
I'd like to, that's,
That's good with me.
so we just table that then as well.
We don't have to vote on it, so.
I think I'm just providing you more information just to continue the conversation.
Yeah, so that helps. Thank you.
Well, and to be honest, I really don't want to piecemeal this. If we're gonna build it, we're gonna build it.
That's right.
Let's build all of it. You know, I don't want to be in a situation to where 3 years down the road, we still don't have bathrooms.
I
So,
don't think that's piecemeal. I think that's something that, in a year that we would probably be able to handle. It's an expense right now that if we want to go ahead and get the field built, then we can do without that for a year.
In strategic planning, it's already on the list.
right, and I know we can do that, but I just think it's, just build it, get it done. So, that's why I want to make sure, once you get a final number done on carryover, that we can start divvying up some of that.
Okay, and then the next item is the asbestos abatement bid.
The low bid there is 38,000 some odd.
987.
There you go. Thank you. Some odd, it's, yeah. Good reputable company, recommended by Air Source Technology, and they beat the other bid by around $19,000. And I've spoken with the owner of the company. I'm very comfortable. He's actually already come and looked at the site to make sure it's something he can handle, and so I feel good about it. I would recommend that we go with this low bid.
So this is mainly the tile floors.
This is the tile floors and some mercury thermometers and a few elbow pipe joints.
Now, are we gonna put a ditch down the middle of the hallway?
They're gonna have to.
I mean, lay some,
They're gonna have to hook into, the water line goes down the middle of the hallway underground, and they have to hook into that water line with restrooms they're adding and water fountains and things, so, yeah.
tear apart that brand new floor.
Jim Trapp already tried to get a piece of tile up to see if he could salvage it, and we cannot. However, he is salvaging the carpet squares. Probably as we speak, because we just put a number of those rooms down a few months ago.
Okay.
Make a motion for the approval to award the contract for asbestos abatement at Mary Jean Hogsett to abatement and contracting services for $38,987.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
And I would like to add real quickly, you were getting ready to add too, that the Hogsett and Bates HVAC bids will both come in on the 28th of June.
Yes, I'd be available on the 3rd
Okay.
that afternoon if we,
We need to do that to get that the Hogsett
Okay.
project going. We're already
Yeah.
on behind because KDE, so.
I think anytime after 3 o'clock, that would be fine. So,
Just your all's call, we just need a special call meeting to
Okay.
approve the.
we'll figure that out for that
Contract.
Tuesday the 3rd.
That works.
Okay.
Thank you.
Got one other thing. Christie asked the roofing contractor that's going to replace the roof at Swain Gym if he would take a look at the Gore House roof. And he said he wouldn't touch it because apparently there's a lot of asbestos in the shingles.
He fears that there is. It would have to be tested first. And if those
So-
shingles are asbestos.
So we're going to have to get somebody to come in and look at it and see if there's actually asbestos involved before something's done.
So can we just take a shingle off and get it all sent somewhere? Yeah.
Air source guy will come and snap a shingle off.
Okay.
He may already know. I just haven't had the time to look in the binder. I have the binder, and I'm not sure if it'll be in there or not, but it may be.
All right. Well, that's good to know.
Okay, moving on to board policy and procedure updates. First item is the 2018 board policy update, number 41, second reading.
This is just like I presented last week, no changes. Just need a second reading and approve.
So we're gonna approve these individually or just as,
No.
all as one?
All as one. It's
Okay.
our annual update.
So I move for the approval of the 2018 board policy update number 41 as submitted.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes. And then the next one is the 2018 procedure update number 22 review.
This is the annual procedure update. You don't have to vote on it, you just have to review it.
Okay.
If you have any questions, let me know.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, moving on to our district rebranding update. First item is the anchor logo for the Danville School District, Danville High School, Tolliver, and Hogsett.
So at the May regular meeting, we looked at the 3 concepts that the committee was looking at, asked you guys to provide some feedback. Thank you for taking time to fill out the survey and look through all those concepts and give your input. On June 4th, I met with the branding committee. We went through all the surveys from the committee perspective as well as the board members who filled out surveys, and talked about potential edits, all 3 concepts. The concept number 3, individual school colors, the committee decided to cross that one off the list, as well as the individual solitary star logo for all of those. And then on Thursday, I sent you all kind of a rundown of the feedback and what everyone thought about it. Based on our meeting and the past, since January that we've met and discussed things, the committee would like to seek your approval for concept number 1, which is the same anchor all the way across the school and the district. So if you all have any questions about that or concerns.
I think it looks good. Yeah, it looks really good. Okay, so right now we just need to approve this one first before we move on
Yes,
to the second.
and I just want to make you all aware, John W. Bate is not in that one. I know you guys already know that, but I want to point that out. And then that we'll also have that phase 2 that looks closer at athletic logos and involves our coaches.
Right. Okay. Fantastic.
So when do you possibly think we would get an approval or a disapproval concerning Bate?
Well, right now we've looked at 3 logos, 3 different bulldog heads. The committee, and particularly the feedback we've gotten from the middle school employees and our John W. Bate rep, is that they wanted to see more of a full body bulldog, kind of like Mississippi State. You know, they have that full body bulldog over the M, or the Sanford bulldog. That's maybe kind of turned a little bit rather than just a head, which is initially what we did ask for with our graphic designer, but he wanted to provide a head just to kind of see the direction, and then 2, he felt that a head would translate better to other things, but the committee was pretty adamant. They at least want to see a full body bulldog, so that's what we've asked for.
Is that what we have even in the painted? I'm trying to think what's painted in the gym right now. Is it?
We have
full?
no.
Is it?
It's full. I think it's full. It's either full or a profile. There's 2 different
Okay.
ones.
I was trying to remember what's even in there.
It's
right
very
now.
detailed. They want to see something that's less detailed, and not abstract, but just something cleaner that doesn't, when you go to print and stuff, get kind of clouded. So they want something that looks proud, and they thought maybe a bulldog and a proud stance would kind of convey that, instead of aggressive with the teeth and the spiked collar that we see. So I think, to answer Steve's question, I think we'll probably see a mock-up within the next week. It won't be finalized. I'll then have to take that to the committee. They'll have to review it, decide what direction they want to go in, and that just depends on whether or not they completely like what our graphic designers come up with, or they want to see more tweaks.
Well, and I know you were looking for like a conditional approval from us. I would
First, you
rather.
need a motion on the anchor.
Yeah, let's do the first, on the anchor first, and then we'll.
Okay.
They're 2 different items.
Yeah. Yeah.
Make a motion to approve of the Danville Independent School District, Pogsett, Tolliver, and DHS logos as submitted.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that motion passes. So then we can move on to the John W. Bates Middle School, continued combined Bulldog and Anchor logo.
So the thought here, Steve, was when we were meeting on the 4th, we had one committee member, as we were talking about feedback, that wanted to engage the Bate Alumni Association. And the committee collectively talked a lot about feedback and how much they wanted to solicit. And so rather than solicit input in the stages of building it, they would like to build a full, you know, if it's a full-body bulldog, a tongue twister to say, by the way, that they decide to go with. They would like to create something, have it finalized, kind of like we're doing now, show to the Bate Alumni Association, and see how they feel about it, get their stamp of approval. And then, ideally, I guess if they approve of it, the hope is that you'll approve of it as well.
So with this motion, though, it would never come back to us as far as,
The motion is conditional, so you do have the right to disapprove.
and the thought is to have the combination of the anchor still included with the stars be included as well?
It is, the same exact anchor will be included, and I can send you all the first 3 that we looked at so you can kind of see. I don't think we'll use any of the 3's exact heads because no one was completely happy with all 3 of them. But right now, what we've seen on 2 of the 3 bulldogs is a collar with the dog tag having the anchor on it. I did mention to the graphic designer that the committee really liked that collar and the anchor, but as you saw the logos you just approved, the stars are at the top, and so my concern was, is it going to get too small to where it's not, you know, a prominent feature? So he may play with it and show a couple of different options of how to incorporate that anchor. We had one bulldog head that committee member Bobby Trumbo pointed out that he liked that one because in the face he could see an anchor with the nose and the mouth. And then other people saw it once they saw it. I don't think it was intentional. I just think it looked that way. So there could be a couple of different ways. And if you all want to see those 3 bulldog heads, I'm happy to send them over so you can kind of see what direction they're headed in.
That'd be good, that'd be great.
All right, so do you all feel comfortable with the conditional?
So I just want to understand the conditional. Conditional that Bate likes it, or conditional that, I mean, I just want to make sure we're going to see it.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, so the condition would be, basically, we would be presented, but we would be saying not only does the committee like this, but the Bate Alumni Association also has given their stamp of approval and is behind this law. And then you can approve of it.
So if it's gonna come back to us to approve it, is there a reason to make a conditional approval? If it's gonna come back to us anyway?
Doesn't seem like it's gonna originally. Is it more that you're wanting us to say it's okay for them to have some input, I guess maybe?
Yes. I just want you to be aware that we're gonna send this over to the committee.
Yeah.
It seems unlikely that the board would want to choose a logo that the Bate Alumni Association
Right.
does not.
Right.
Right.
So
Right.
I think it's important to be very specific that their endorsement
Yeah.
is a significant factor in what the board would do as regards to that logo.
Right.
So that means, say we come here and we show you this logo, we say the Bate Alumni approves of it. You can still say, well, I approve of the stance the Bulldogs in, but I don't like the collar.
So is there representation on this? I know you mentioned Mr. Trumbo. Is there representation already from the alumni on the committee?
There's not. We
Okay.
have 10 members, 5 are employees, so 1 from each school that we currently
Okay.
have, and then we have 2 students and 3 community members.
Okay.
So we don't have anyone. He just felt, and I'll say Bobby Trumbo is the one who made that suggestion. And the reason that we weren't going to solicit their feedback before we start developing the Bulldog is because we talked about soliciting additional feedback from additional parents,
Yeah.
students,
It's
and
a lot.
we decided not to do that because the thought was we've been looking at this for 6 months and a lot of things have gone into it versus, if we were to put it out on social media, we would just get those who have access to social media. There's no way to really get a good sample of feedback.
Right.
So,
Well, I guess based upon that, I'm okay with a conditional, so I'll make the motion to make a conditional approval of the John W. Bate Middle School logo, conditional upon Bate Alumni Association endorsement. Need a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all right, thank you, Kelly.
Thanks, Kelly.
All right, then moving on to the consent agenda.
I move that we approve the group things in this consent agenda for approval without discussion.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Do we have anything? No? No reserved for the public? And I don't think we have a need for an executive session, is that correct? Okay.
Okay, then I move we adjourn this meeting.
All right. Second.